Welcome back, terrible listeners, to our second episode in Bluebeard's Bride. Bluebeard's Bride is from Magpie Games, and we are playing through our session here with our sisters at the table. I'm your groundskeeper, Justin Ecock, and around the table tonight I have from the Terrible Warriors and from Twitch. You've been streaming lately.
I've been streaming, and then I'm also in the Sayer podcast because I like to drop that because that's my long con.
Yeah, it is.
Poisonne, hi.
Hi, Bree.
Hi.
And tonight,
still here. No one's
you're
kicked me
playing.
out yet. Tonight, I am playing the Virgin.
The Virgin is a problem.
Going against type and playing the Virgin until you actually hear how I'm playing this character, in which case you realize it's exactly the type, and I've never done anything else in my life.
And from the podcast for the recently deceased, we have playing the Witch and Fairytale,
Nick Cassidy.
And Ash Cassidy.
And here from the Fairytale for Unwanted Children,
Scott Thrower.
And you are playing
The Mother.
The Mother.
Mama.
And this is a scary moment for me because, as we mentioned in our first episode, this is our second attempt at Bluebeard's Bride. The first episode went fine the first time. The first episode went fine the second time. This is the moment where it was like, and now we're actually up against it. We're exploring the house and visiting the rooms.
Well,
and
it's very fitting to the fairy tale that we're actually doing this again. The same thing happening again.
All of this has happened before. And
We're
all
a
of this will
different
happen.
bride.
We live in a simulation, and it's skipping back to the same parts constantly because it's running out of memory.
So where we last left, we've just had our wedding to Bluebeard. You presented your gifts.
Unconsummated.
It was an embroidered imagery of storks, a lock of hair, a horse bridle, and a kiss.
Everything but the
Fairytale.
kiss was intensely embroidered. If we could have figured out the kiss, I'm sure we would have.
There was some needlework with that tongue.
Flossing.
Oh.
You really want to taste a man.
I'm sorry, did we all just shiver from fear there?
No, I've lived with him for a while. I am super used to it.
So arriving at the house, our Fairytale has the ring.
Actually, have we explained the Shiver from Fear?
So the Shiver from Fear, this is a Powered by Apocalypse game. Powered by Apocalypse, Apocalypse World started it all. We've played other Powered by Apocalypse games here on the show, Monster Hearts, Worldwide Wrestling, The Sprawl, and Masks, I think is the other gun we really like around here. And this is just very hacked from the original. It's very much outdoing its own thing. One of the things that's carried over are playbooks and movesets. One of the moves, you can only use some of them when you're wearing the ring. The ring will be passed around from sister to sister. Whenever you use a ring move, unless it says otherwise, you pass the ring whenever you use a ring move. So everyone's going to get a chance to have the ring. The ring cannot come to you a second time until everyone has had it once. One of the ring moves is Shiver from Fear, and this is a meta move in that it doesn't relate to the character you're playing. It relates to you, the player. Should something happen while you are in possession of the ring and you go, ugh, I'm not into this, or I'm
Basically, the
scared.
thing I've been doing for the entire game, the whole time, the whole like.
I will ask you, what are you afraid of? And you will then tell me what it is you are afraid of, and then I will tell you how it is worse than that. And then you have a few choices
So
to
just
make
like real life.
for that. So Shiver from Fear is an interesting move because it's about you, the player, not about the character you're playing.
So if we're afraid of something, you'll tell us how it's way worse.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much every conversation I have with my father.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Go.
So you also have in front of you, everyone has the move list. And I remember last time this felt very limiting, and it's meant to. Yeah, and you've got the ring moves for you, Fairytale, and that sheet will be passed around along with the ring. These aren't meant to limit you. They're meant to help guide as we're going around to prompt you into different directions as we explore these rooms. But what we've been doing leading up, we haven't been using moves during the wedding and the creation and walking into the house, is to help you get the feel of how free form your role play can be. You can just keep talking amongst yourselves and just keep doing it, and then I will let you know if you trigger any of these moves. You don't have to intentionally say, I would like to care for someone. You can just go, oh, I'm going to walk over and look after this person and see how they're doing. Oh, it sounds like you're doing this move. So we'll then play through and see how that affects the scene. Or like investigating a mysterious object. Everything in here is a curiosity. You're going to be looking at objects. These are just going to give you the kinds of questions you can ask me. And you can ask them exactly as they're written, or you can get it within the spirit of those questions as well. And I've got a bunch of moves I'm using. I just don't mention that I'm using that move. I just say what happens. It just falls in line with undermine the bride's senses is one of these things that's written. Well, I'm not going to tell you I'm doing that. I'm just going to do it.
Did you get
Right?
this from one of those pickup master books?
Negging.
Nag the bride.
When we last left, the Fatale had been given the key and been given the ring of keys. Visit any room in the house you want, except for that one room. We don't need to talk about that, unless you want to talk about that. If anyone here is bothered by the fact that Bluebeard didn't want you to go in one room out of all of them.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I just wanted to know why.
Okay.
Yeah, well, and he told you quite.
Because he said so.
I don't trust him. He's got shifty eyes.
Every husband has a man
shifty
cave.
beard.
Oh, do we marry a guy with a man cave?
Into it.
We could repurpose it as a dungeon. It's fine.
Into it.
So you're looking for a bedroom,
Uh-huh.
and you find a key that is, for the master bedroom, must be the finest key on the ring. And you found this great key. It was a gunmetal black with a plushy, tactile velvet heart on the head of the key. What anything else about the key that strikes your attention, or that really?
It was quite deco looking, almost like something from the movie Moulin Rouge. I would say very, very sumptuous.
Mm-hmm. So how do you find this room? You have the key, but you've never been in this house before.
I'm going to guess that if the key is so stylized, it's probably going to match nicely with a very stylized, elegant door is what I'm assuming. So I guess I go for a bit of a stroll.
So I described you had the foyer with the stairs going up, stairs going down, a hallway going forward. I mean, you head up the stairs?
I'd say up for a
Yeah.
bedroom.
So you make your way up, and there's, servants moving around with carts, and looks like laundry or something. Or maybe one had like old plates for food, and others that are just making their way from one room to another. You come across, and as you walk through the hallways, you find a door that very much looks like this key, right? And what does it look like?
So it's two double doors, each with sort of a heart leaning inwards set on each. So it's two hearts, very pretty. So I'm guessing this has to be a master bedroom for two people. And it's beautifully ornate around the sides. It looks very sumptuous, kind of almost bordello-ish. So that gets my hopes up.
Look how sensual our husband is.
Yeah.
Did we cover stats and faces?
We
I don't
didn't
think
go
we
over
did.
faces. That's a good point there, Witch.
We also have not
do we
done
need to
stats.
pick? Do we
So-
need to choose a face? And this
Yes.
is the one.
Before we get started on the game, we
Yeah, it just
absolutely
occurred to me that
did
we
the
didn't
other
do
half of the
that.
page. We were running out of time, and I sped things up, and I skipped over those last steps. So on your stats, you have one that was chosen for you at +1, and you have two other stats: it's blood, carnality, and resilience. And blood is your connection to the horrific. How closely tied are you to the darkest sides of human nature? Carnality is your expression of the horrific. Do you weaponize your sexuality or give in to base instincts such as violence? And resilience is your resistance to the horrific. How much horror can you stand before you break? You have one that is at a +1 that is chosen for you. The other two are left empty, and you can choose one. It gets a 0, and the other gets a -1. So your stats only go between -1 and +1. That's as much as the spread is in this game. Befitting the fact that you're a frail, young, naive bride.
I'm sophisticated.
Well then, Fatale, what changes did you make for your stats?
So my blood was already at +1. I gave my carnality the 0 and my resilience the -1.
Okay, and Mother?
My carnality was already +1. I gave myself a -1 on blood and 0 on resilience.
And Witch?
+1 on blood. I went for the 0 on carnality and a -1 on resilience.
And finally, Virgin.
I had the +1 already in resilience, so I put -1 in blood and 0 in carnality.
We do have one last bit of character creation left before we can enter this room, is you have to choose which face you're going to have. Every sister has 3 versions of that sister you can play as, which give you a special move that you can use at any time during the game, whether you are wearing the ring or not. You just follow the directions on there. And so, Fairytale, you have the ring. So which face do you have?
So I chose the spider. Your beauty and charm get you what you want. When you trap a servant or a whore with your feminine wiles, then they will give you a secret about either the house or Bluebeard. Mark 1 trauma to ask a follow-up question.
And trauma, you have 5 hearts at the bottom of your page. Once you fill in the 5th heart, you shatter, you'll turn the page over, and there's other instructions there that will follow through. But suffice it to say, if you shatter, you won't be on Team Bride anymore.
It's a bad.
You'll be on my side. And Mother, what face do you have?
So I chose the Kingmaker. When I insist a male servant or whore deserves more power than they currently have and give them a gift, I have found my champion. Heal 1 trauma.
Interesting. Virgin, I keep putting you last because you're just around the circle of the table. I'll have you go next.
I chose the victim. When you caress a horror by inviting it to come closer, mark 1 trauma to take a 10+ instead of rolling.
Okay. And finally, witch.
I chose the medium, so spill your blood to commune with the horrors of the room. So mark 1 trauma, and the groundskeeper will share whisperings about what happened here and might ask you a question or 2. Answer them.
Okay. So we're at this door. It has the hearts double door. You're in the process of describing the rest of it.
So it looks very like something from a bordello. Very lush. The hearts are actually in like a velvet you could squish. So
You're very into the like squishing things.
I thought I'd go for a lot of really tactile shit.
Well, it's either use the word squish a lot or moist for the Fatale.
Oh, let's not rush things.
Oh, did you just shiver from fear?
No, rather the opposite. I am one of the few people that actually enjoys that word. I find it very
You're
descriptive.
shivering from
only-
Antissa.
Patient.
I mean, I only like the word moist when it's about cake.
The shiver from fear move you can trigger onto yourself, or I can ask it towards you. And it doesn't have to be when you're actually afraid. It can just be when you want this to be worse and we want to check it out.
We always want things to be worse here. Hello.
So, can I go in?
So you take this plush key into the door, and it enters in, and you can hear like the interlocking mechanisms inside as you turn it, as all these parts around the heart begin to kind of move
Ooh, so it very locks.
into itself, and the doors open.
It's like the freaking Chamber of Secrets up in here.
Oh, I hope so.
The doors open. You enter the room, and the door closes behind you. So you have found your way to the bedroom.
Yes.
You found it.
Killed
yes. But this is not like any bedroom you've ever seen before.
I should hope not. I grew up in a hovel.
The circular nature of the room is the
Ooh.
first thing that catches. There's no corners to hide in this room. It's a big round room, and it's, as we mentioned, it's nighttime already when you arrived, but the room is lit by dozens of candles, all kind of lopsided too.
God
They
damn it,
remind me of
Simon.
home.
All of these candles lining the room. They've been lit for a while. They've melted down, and they've kind of gone off to different sides, and some of them look more aged. And in the center of the room is, I mean, I suppose you could call this a bed, but it's circular and covered in pillows and like that velvet, same material of the door. But it's not clearly a bed for sleeping in.
Okay.
It's the room has other, like it has dressers and cupboards around. I mean, it is still a functional master bedroom. There's a lot of mirrors, especially around the edges where the candles are. Some are by what looks like a vanity table, but then there's other mirrors that don't really have the same kind of function as something that a vanity mirror would have. These are just mirrors on the walls.
So you can watch yourself sleeping quietly.
Mm-hmm, yes. Watching yourself sleeping quietly. And the candles, velvet cushions, They do have, Mother, you'll notice some really nice embroidery put around, and the working, the stitching on the.
Wait, better than mine?
Well, I mean, yes.
Oh,
Yeah, it's expensive though. I mean, this isn't.
It's like silk embroidery as opposed to
Dyed goat's wool.
yeah, wool.
still,
What
that's
are
gross.
some of the imageries on these silk embroideries, Virgin?
I feel like it's a lot of filigree and a lot of hearts, but if you kind of tilt your head and look at the filigree, some of those shapes are yep, that's
They're like body outlines.
They're
not just
quite
hearts.
they're quite
You saw some of the goats doing that.
you know
one there.
Karma Sutra.
Mm-hmm.
I like
But
this room.
it's not very it's all like filigree work, right?
Yeah.
The shapes are quite
It's tasteful
suggestive,
filigree.
though.
It's almost
porn.
subconscious that you would see it, and it's there now. And once you see it, though, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, and some of those things aren't hearts, but we're going to let the Virgin think they are.
The heart is really elongated
This
at
one's
one
real
end.
lopsided.
What would you like to do?
Oh, I definitely want to go and try out that amazing looking bed.
So you make your way towards the bed, and how do you want to try out this amazing bed?
Well, since we're having fun, I think I just want to. I've heard about feather beds; they sound amazing. So I just turn my back to it.
Instead of a straw pallet.
Yep. I turn my back to it. I open my arms out, and I just fall luxuriantly into the pile of pillows.
As you turn and you go to fall into the pile of pillows, which you see an image in the mirror of a woman sitting on the bed. And it's just in that moment, like as the camera is panning up, it's just sort of, it's there, and then you're not looking at the mirror anymore. But you caught out of the corner of your eye someone else there.
Oh, okay.
Well, as a take stock, I'd like to ask what horror is here is hidden from the bride.
A woman sitting on the bed.
Okay.
You can't see her except in the reflection of the mirror.
So if I move around and I look, I can't see her, but I can still see her in the mirror. She's not
The
flickering in and
witch
out.
is seeing,
So
because
the
the witch
rest
is
of us are
looking for the
unaware.
horror. So she's seeing the hidden element here. And I mean, you can warn the Fatale that there's someone else in this room.
Fatale, we'd be much more comfortable if we switched into something a little bit more convenient to wear. This corset is digging in.
I don't know. I like the shape it gives us.
We have the nighttime corset.
Oh, okay.
The night corset.
It's a night corset.
Yo, you see that bitch in the mirror?
I look great in this outfit. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm top
I'm out.
bitch.
Yeah, no. There's a lot of mirrors. It shows me from all the angles. This corset gives me a waist for once. I love it. So anyway, you were talking about getting changed?
Well, one of these cupboards has to contain some clothing that we can switch into.
yeah, let's look through. Good idea.
So you go to make your way off of the bed, but those pillows are very comfortable, and the silken sheets on the bed are moving over your arms and
Well, it's
that
been
fell down to the
real-
bed.
been a
They're
real
kind of
long
going out, and
day.
they're holding you down. You can't actually get yourself off of the bed anymore, and you can't move your arms in either.
Is this concerning to me or am I into it?
I'm into it.
Is it? Are you?
This sounds kind of nice. I feel like maybe I'll just roll with it and kind of snuggle up to these.
A bit of
strange
starching would solve this.
It does sound like you yourself every time you're in a bed. Where it's like,
Yeah.
I just can't get out of this.
Truly.
The
You
sheets are
start
reading me.
seeing in
Mood.
the mirrors around the room more. Each mirror is a different woman,
Okay.
all on this bed.
So I can see him now too.
Into it?
You can see this now too. It's
Sorry,
not the
witch.
same. Though the person that was in the first image is now sitting on the side of the bed, and
Wait,
around
actually
you,
sitting on the side of the bed or sitting in a
it's not.
reflection?
It's not that you're seeing a reflection as you're watching a replay
Okay.
in these other mirrors.
So
All these other things that have happened on this bed.
I'm pretty comfy. So I just lay back and watch this replay play out.
Ghosts don't actually exist. So what we're seeing is probably just, it's been a trying day.
And I, for one, without having to drink that weird tea the hag gave me, I'm seeing stuff for free. I love it. Let's go.
And you hear a voice kind of now in your ear. This person that was leaning on the bed is now kind of laying down beside you and is whispering into your ear, but you didn't know that you were seeing. You were like, oh, these are kind of great. This is only going on. And
These rooms must be so expensive.
I want to say something on like, you really think you can do better than all of them?
So that hurts.
And also, yes.
And Yeah, I have kissed no less than 27 and a half farm boys
And
and several farm girls, but we're not allowed to talk about that.
And a couple goats.
We've raised some goats. We've kissed some goats. I mean, there's just
Well,
been
you got to
goats.
practice.
Yeah.
the silken bindings on this bed, the sheets, are beginning to cut into your arms.
Okay. So
Take a trauma.
take a trauma. So
You're gonna have to get up.
You can choose to keep it for yourself or share it with your sisters.
no, I'll take it. It's my lazy ass. Thank God.
In fact, you can almost see that like they're cinching so tightly, like, you know, the way the silk can get in real sharp if it's in that tight, and it's bruising your skin now, but it's going to break
Okay,
if it
so
gets any tighter.
I
Do
just-
it, maybe.
I decide to use some of the tactics that I've used before, and to the horror I say, teach me.
So it sounds like you're trying to caress a horror.
Well, figuratively.
Yeah,
Do you have the ring moves there?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah.
I guess I am.
Yeah. You're responding not with like violence or animosity. You're trying to win this horror over
Well,
and redirect it to somewhere else.
if they think they're so great, I'm sure I could learn a lot, and women don't count, so my husband can't be mad at me. And it's a shame to waste this big
Especially
bedroom.
not ghost women that just popped out of our mirror.
Right,
I'm sure this is
Spectre-
fine.
They did not cover spectrophilia in our small
Spectrophilia.
church. They had sermon upon sermon about bestiality, but nothing about spectrophilia.
That was when we stopped kissing.
So caressing
the
a
goats.
horror. When you caress
You
a
stopped.
horror, which sounds like what you're doing here, you're going to be rolling with your blood stat
Yes, it's my good stuff.
on a hit. And now, Powered by Apocalypse Games, hits are 10 or higher. 7
You rolled 2d6.
7 to 9 still counts as a success, but other things are going to happen, and they'll happen at a cost. And anything under 6 or under is a miss. You don't get what you want. So, in this case, for Caressa Horror, the horror will be swayed by your stroke on a hit. You will direct what was intended to you to another victim in the house. On a 7 to 9, it will shift its attention, but only if you participate in some way.
Okay. Let's go. I got a
6.
6 plus my
Plus-
1 blood is 7.
So you rolled a 7. So
Just scrape by.
what are you trying to do here as the bindings are getting into, and you can almost feel like sharp nails beginning to draw across the skin of your neck as the whispering continues in the ears of all, like, you'll never be this good, like, to all the imageries happening in these mirrors.
Is this room reminding anyone else of Instagram?
So, what do I do? I guess I
You will win her over, but
I submit and I say, teach me, please. And I use the sort of manipulative skills that I've gained from playing coy and playing dumb. And I guess it must work.
it will shift its attention somewhere else if you participate in some way. So how might that happen? I can propose an option,
Well, I
or
mean-
you can.
I can as well, because there's
Yeah.
going to need to be a male figure to be part of this. So maybe it has to go off and find a man to help teach.
Maybe you have to go off. And
or
find
maybe
a
they
man.
have
Ooh, I would love that.
maybe they have to model the behavior on each other so I can learn.
also bring some of those others from the other mirrors. So it,
But they're much prettier than me, so it hurts my feelings.
you have to participate in some way, though.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it can bring in another woman from the mirror and then supervise.
Mm-hmm. So the horror reaches up from the bed. The bindings begin to release, but it reaches into the mirror and it grabs one of the other replays.
Okay.
Right? But when it grabs one of the other replays, it's like it snaps to like awareness, reaches out of the mirror, and it's now on the bed where it was, and you're standing there in the position that the horror was just a moment ago.
Okay.
Going, so show me what you know. You hear now in your mind.
So
Also, you now have to pass the ring on, don't you?
You
Oh,
used
yeah.
a ring move, so who's going to now do the one thing that Fatale's ready to do but isn't going to be able to?
which this is on you. Bring the chaos.
Okay, so where are the ring moves?
So this image of this other woman from one of these replays, someone else who was in this room, She has braided hair.
But
But
she has herself got braided hair,
Yeah.
or she does braid hair.
her hair is braided
Okay.
Immaculately.
Better than ours.
She has
Yeah.
green eyes, but a hourglass frame. She's much smaller, younger, and in her eyes though is that unbroken stare, but it's pleading for escape.
Now, this might not be life or death yet, so if we have to do more investigating or looking around, I think we still can. And certainly, I'd rather be in an outfit that we can move in better than this.
I mean, I don't think that horror that's standing over you is going to be like super into dress up time.
So I
It's
might use
inside your mind now.
I might use my spider move. So it is when you trap a servant or horror
Yeah.
with your feminine wiles.
I mean, the witch has just been given the ring and is now must participate in some way,
oh yeah, you have
or
to.
you're going to be right back to where you started.
Well, I'd like to.
At least that's the gambit that's been thrown on you.
Yeah.
Feel free to just because we did talk about this a little in the pre-show, but I don't know if you were here for it. With Powered by Apocalypse games, one of the things that we find is less looking at the move sheet and more explaining what you're doing until
Think
the
about
GM
where you are
tells you
and
what
what's
you are
happening,
doing.
and just keep talking. Just like what happened there with Ash. She described something that went, "Oh, that triggers one of these moves because I know these moves pretty well, and I'll worry about this." We're just worrying about.
So where
the
we're at, we
scene
have
we're
this
in.
this horror is looking at me.
So the horror was over you and you were bound to the bed. The reflections in the mirror were playing out all these other previous scenes that have happened in this room. And Ash is like, I can do this. I know everything. By Ash, I mean the Fatale. And
no, you're pretty
the,
dead on.
and the horror, because it was a 7 to 9, reached out and grabbed one of the images. Whereas if it had been a 10, it would have just jumped into the mirrors and just gone in a destructive path through all the different replays. It pulled one of the replay women out, put it into your place. You're now standing in the place where that horror was. So presumably you have swapped positions. The horror is no longer visible. It's now in your mind telling you so. Kind of, you almost hear the arms folding. Show me what you know. And it's expecting you to do what you thought it was about to do to yourself.
We are super good at kissing. Just bear that in mind.
Well, I would like to...
Yes, but I will point out, kissing a woman? I mean, that's a sin.
And you can feel
come
like a
on now, we've been
pressure
practicing.
now squeezing on the back of your neck like nails.
Yeah, I want to... can I dirty myself with violence against the woman on the bed?
Yes.
Or can I? Do I need to use a ring move?
What do you
for that, or
want to
can I just
do?
it?
Let's not worry about the looking at the room, the moves here. What is exactly that you would like to do?
I want to suffocate her with a pillow.
When
Which,
did we learn that?
Kinky.
What?
Like
You're
you know,
asserting
when you have
dominance
to,
over the horrors.
It's about power, and I want to assert my power by taking away her ability to breed, which will give me a camaraderie, for want of a better term, with the heart.
Yeah, that'll impress it, I guess. I'm on your side for this one.
I could be into it. I've never tried that before.
Roll the dice. You have been in this room for a few minutes, and you have now turned into a monster.
The witch is
12.
12.
Wait, what's this plus? Like, is this plus any of my...
It doesn't
stats?
matter. It's as
doesn't
high.
matter.
That's
It's
a
the
maximum
best.
No,
roll.
but if it was 13, I'd be like...
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be witchy as
ramming
balls.
that pillow down her.
So you grab the pillow and you're pushing it over the face, and there's resistance and screaming and pleading, and the horror in your head is laughing and laughing.
I guess
Take
this
a
is
trauma.
I take it from her?
Actually, everyone else, not the witch, everyone else take a trauma for what the witch has just done to you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not,
fuck you,
not
bitches.
sure.
Because you all kind of went, what? Here,
Like, oh, we do this? Oh, our Charlie Durden
this
is
is
really
what we
scary.
do now?
Well, it's also like this isn't like an actual person necessarily. This is like a kind of weird dreamy hallucination. So I don't feel too guilty.
The horror laughs and cackles, and then the voice in your mind vanishes. The room gets a little bit brighter. The candles kind of return to it. The body on the bed doesn't go away.
Oh, crumbs.
Really?
And it's not dressed in that dress it was before. It's
guys?
dressed in like servant's clothes.
Guys?
Oh, okay.
You had to pass the ring.
You have to pass the ring now.
Witchy poo.
This is why I don't let you,
You
do
do this.
things.
So the candles returned from like almost like a red glow you had seen, like the whole room had gone very dark and warm.
Y'all, this had better not have awakened something in me. I'm just saying.
Now it goes to the same kind of like white candlelight that it was before, but the image of like that green dress, the emerald eyes, and the embroidered hair. Now it's just a servant's uniform, hair in a bun.
Do you think this is what our husband is into? Like, I'm not.
I definitely think this is what he's into. But yes,
If it is, we've already mastered it, so that's great.
The mother
He must.
the
love
mother
us
snaps
now.
into control and immediately starts pulling the body towards one of the cupboards.
Yep.
So looking for an outfit and also looking to hide this body.
You're
Okay.
still on the outfit.
Now,
I
of
love
course,
it.
whenever you want to leave the room, like it sounds like you might be getting close to this, we got to get the hell out of here.
Yes.
You can only leave the room if you take a token of faithfulness or disloyalty from the room as evidence. Maybe the pillow you just killed the servant girl with.
I can help us just.
Or you can choose to escape the room, but I will offer an ugly choice that has to be made.
I can help us decide what happened here. We didn't get a good look at the horrors in the mirror, right? We didn't actually get to look at what was happening to all
No,
the
it's
ladies.
just women for some reason.
But was
Yeah,
there,
no, it
just
was a
women.
lot of different.
was there
really-
things? Was there things?
Yes. We
Was
didn't
there
know what
things-
specific women they were.
Was there things happening to them that we should have been watching?
It looked
Well,
kind of sexy.
Yeah, the Virgin was keeping a very close eye on all of
Were
those
thi-
things.
were there
weren't you?
scenes playing
taking
out?
notes with her beady little eyes.
Into it. Look, I was taking notes and then someone decided to commit murder up in here, which I might also be into as it turns out. But
Were there scenes playing out, or was it just women standing?
oh no,
No, they
they
were
were
not
definitely
standing.
they were not standing. They were all on the bed.
Okay, so I'm going to use my spider move.
Bluebeard was in a few of them.
Okay. Oh, I need.
Yeah,
we
that
need
was
to,
great.
We need to go back and see these to
We
before
need
you
to go
take.
back.
No, now there's
You
just
can't go
you
back.
and the look of your face and the pillow in your hand.
Do any of the mirrors have like little sections which tell you when the blowjob is and when the actual sex is? And
No,
you
they're
can
just
skip
mirrors.
in.
It's not.
There's
it's
no
not,
chapter select.
It's not you porn.
So, the horror is gone, or can I still contact
You have
it?
defeated it.
It's gone.
Oh, darn.
It has been satiated. You have done more than enough for
You're
it.
welcome, bitches.
Can't take you
I
anywhere.
was
Wedge.
trying to take notes.
So the bride is now dressed in a very
Maybe the last thing the
smart
horror
dress.
says it goes away going, "Oh, you're going to do fine here."
Thank you.
The bride is now dressed in a very smart dress, and she has wrapped the body in the wedding dress and put it into the bottom of one of the cupboards, covering it up with other debris.
The closet opens up and there's lots of dresses. Few of them fit you. You sound like, well, that's just not rectangular enough. Some of those are other shapes, triangles and stuff that would never work to you. I mean, you're not a strong person, and you're trying to move a body
Physically.
So heavier than a goat.
into yeah, it's heavier than a goat. And you're trying to move this heavier than a goat real person
this is all
into
that
a
we-
closet.
No.
Just as the door to the bedroom opens, and you hear a cart, and she's backing into the room, so she hasn't
Dim
seen
sum.
anything yet, but she's pulling a cart of fresh candles into the room.
I will call out, "Avert your eyes, I am not yet decent."
Smart.
Like, "Oh, my lady, I did not know you were in this room," and she's going to peek a look anyways.
Rude.
I will stand in the way of the body so that there will be no line of sight between
Yeah.
them, with the wedding dress still in my hands and partially undressed.
Yeah, it's like, "Oh, I can help you with that, my lady."
Well, if you could help me with anything, it would be to get me something to eat. I was so nervous at the wedding that I barely had a chance.
Yeah. Oh yes, no problem. And she sets one candle down and makes her way over towards the closet to go find you a nice dress to wear, so that you'll look presentable down in the food hall.
Oh, I have already decided on something, but could you bring something up for me? I'm exhausted from the day.
She is far too curious.
Are we allowed to eat in the bedroom?
It's our house. We can eat anywhere.
There was lots of people eating in those mirrors.
Also, there are things you can do
GG.
with food that are, yes.
I don't think they were eating food. They were hungry though.
Well, I would describe it as thirsty, if I'm honest.
Yes, if you could just run off and get me a sandwich or something.
She's not going to. She's. Oh, don't be such a fuss. We need to find you a nice dress that's gonna look. These are all so wonderful. And it's like, I have a favorite one I could show you. And she's reaching now.
Why are you talking back to me?
Oh.
I have specifically asked you to do something in very specific terms, and you have not yet done it.
And she's offended. And she's, well, my lady, I was just showing off these wonderful new
Quiet
dresses
now.
that our master has made.
And go and get a sandwich.
Yes, mommy.
Make me a sandwich, bitch.
And like tears begin to well up in her eyes. And Annette turns around.
Scold her more. She loves it.
And on her way there, she kicks some of the candles off to the side and slams the door behind her.
Oh, I'm gonna get that pillow ready.
And you're sleeping in the stables tonight.
I don't know if we should have done that. Guys, she was just trying to help.
yeah.
But she was going to see the body.
Maybe
I had
she
a
could
whole
have
thing
helped us
planned.
with it. She seemed really helpful.
That if she
Body
did
is
see
a
the
problem,
body,
but I
was gonna
think
say,
those
like, you know,
flames licking up the velvet curtains
Solve
from
the problem.
are,
Yeah.
are a bigger issue right now.
Or do they solve the problem? I think they might.
I mean, we're never going to get laid in here if we let it burn down.
I like the way you're thinking, though. This servant helped us a bit with this fire and unfortunately perished.
But
And
what
also,
if-
'Cause
she
it is
didn't listen
suffocation.
to us, and it's going to be her fault for sure.
I really feel like
Time to
Bluebeard
leave the
loves
room
this
then, Mother?
room.
What are you taking out of the room? And is it a loyal or a disloyal token?
The mother is going to roll the servant towards the fire,
Yeah.
get changed, and then
This is supposed to be our marital bed.
we can break in a new one. This one's been used a lot.
is going to take a flower from the wedding dress and sort of pin it to her blouse.
Is this a loyal token then? Sounds like it.
I don't know.
Sounds like you've done things that are very loyal to your husband.
I love our husband.
But it's up to you.
I
You
think we
get to
should be
declare
loyal
this
to him.
truth.
There's a lot of other women's pregnancy gowns in there. It's proving that
What
getting
if it was
pregnant
just-
doesn't keep you
Oh
alive.
my god!
Look, what
oh
if
my
he was
god! He's
just-
cross dresses as a pregnant woman.
Okay, I'm
This
into
is
that.
Bluebeard's.
Into
They
it.
seem to be the wrong size, but we knew he'd been married before. What did we expect to find in these cabinets?
Look, he's wealthy. Maybe he's also frugal, though, right? There's no reason to get rid of these
Maybe that's why.
perfectly good dresses. Like, look
Well,
at
they're
them.
about to all be burned down, along with a wing of the house if you don't do something. But if
Yeah,
you
like
wanna
I want to
leave-
put out the fire.
Maybe
guys.
I'll
Like,
teach him a
this is
lesson
good
for
marital
leaving us
bed.
on our wedding night. Just saying.
He's gonna be so angry.
Yeah, and you know I'm blaming that bitch who came in there with the glitter candles.
Shouldn't
It's all
have
her
asked.
fault.
Shouldn't have asked.
Well, once we get out in the hallway, we can call for help.
Oh, I don't know. We need to make sure the body burns first.
Yeah, make sure the body's nice and on
Any
fire.
perfumes or flammable stuff in the room?
Sure.
Let's put some of that in the body
this is
before
a-
we go, I think.
Can we soak the servant in?
The
like anything about
mother
this.
was declaring you want to take a flower from the wedding dress.
Yes.
And what does the flower represent? Is it a loyal or a disloyal token? And it's up to you to decide.
Loyal, because at the moment we're protecting the marriage. We don't want everyone to think we're a murderer right off the bat. I'm also going to yank down those curtains so they're piled on the body and they'll burn even more.
Look, I will do a murder. Like, I will do a murder if it ingratiates our husband to us. But like, I am worried about burning down this room. I just
So
have to
as you
say.
make your way out the room
We didn't
with
burn
the
it down.
fires licking up the curtains, the last thing you see through the window to the mirrors are all the images coming back, but they're not in any acts of sexuality anymore. They're all banging on the glass as flames are falling up behind them, and
It's our husband now, bitches.
staring at you with a that's it's our houses
He
now.
loves us. I
Looks like
hope
we're gonna
after
get-
the bed burns down.
We're going to
Yes.
get a fresh marital bed. That's going to be amazing.
I've actually never watched the end of a porn. Maybe that's how they all end.
As soon as I'm in the
Definitely
hallway, I
how
start
everything
yelling
ended
for
with
help.
the goat.
The door closes behind. There's smoke coming out. You start yelling for help.
Oh no, one of the maids is still in there.
Oh no.
Someone help. One of the maids
I have
might
to
have
pass the ring
suffocated
on
from
You have to
smoke
pass the ring
inhalation.
off to the virgin's the only one who hasn't worn it yet.
Are you mad, honey?
So you're back out in the hallway. There's smoke filling into the hallway.
I'm very concerned about
You're screaming.
the smoke.
Would you like to cry out for help in order to deal with the
No,
flames?
that's a ring move immediately, guys.
Or
What
are
have
we
you done
leaving?
to me? Yes. Yes, I would. I would like to call for help about the fire because I didn't.
I'll still let
I
you
didn't wanna,
describe a
look,
key.
I didn't want to leave it on fire.
I'll let you describe a key after this before we hand off the ring. But you cry out for help. When you cry out for help, you're going to roll with resilience, which is helpful, I believe, for
That's
the
your
virgin.
good stat.
And on a hit, a house servant will come and address your concerns and calm your hysteria. On a 7 to 9,
Yeah, I'm pretty
they help
fucking
you.
hysterical.
But first, you need to prove your loyalty.
There's like a lot of fire here, and I'm pretty hysterical. That's a 3.
Those are the jinx dice from last time.
Yeah, I thought it would be fun.
Yeah, I actually have given you different dice to roll. That have
Try
been
the
rolling
other
very
dice.
well.
Look, no, I rolled a 3.
You rolled
I'll
a
just
3.
roll different dice next time.
So, no one is coming to help you.
Yeah.
And the
Just
other
walk
sisters
away.
are saying to just walk away. Someone will find out the room's on fire.
Yeah.
It's a very sturdy stone castle.
Look, but
It's
we
your first day.
But we changed our dress. They're gonna know we were in there. Like,
Yeah, you
what if-
left your wedding
how
dress in there.
angry
Well, that
is
other
Bluebeard
servant
going
saw
to
us
be?
there anyway.
Well, maybe the other servant made the mess.
She's going to come back with a sandwich shortly anyway.
Good call.
She's gonna
Which
be,
will then be nice and
I just
toasty.
don't want our husband. I don't,
Virgin,
don't
those
want our
sisters
new-
are so noisy, but it's just you and
I
me
don't
now.
want our
You-
husbando to be angry.
I'm sure he will understand.
All he
that
said was, "Don't go into
it
that one
was
room."
an accident.
He didn't say don't burn the house down.
Yeah.
You have the key. You have the ring. Where would you like to go, or would
Somewhere
you like
far away from things that are on fire.
to? So you want to get far away from things that are on fire, and you find a key on the ring, and you're going to find that room. What does that key look like?
It's. So, I mean, we were talking about going to the kitchen, and it has been a while since we've eaten, and now I'm real upset, and I want to go eat my feelings. So I go through the key ring, and I look for a key that, look. So this key, and it's really bright silver, but it's clearly been used, but it's also bright silver. It's been shined a lot. It's well used, and it's a key, but it also looks just a little bit like a knife. And I mean, the kitchen is full of knives. Am I right? So maybe this is for the kitchen. I don't know. It's shiny. I like shiny. It's well used. People go to the kitchen a lot.
So it's like the edge of the key is it actually sharp? Like sharpened down?
Ow! Yes. That's fun. That hurt.
Okay, so smoke in the air and paper cut on your finger from a sharp key. You're going to find this room. We're going to enter that room next week in our second episode, or in our third episode, as we continue to explore the mansion of Bluebeard.
And also, I have to give someone else the ring, but I'm
And-
going to think about that.
You cried out for help, nothing happened. You're going to describe the room. We'll get to the door. We'll also describe the door, and then you'll hand the key off as soon as we enter the room. And then the Virgin can spend the rest of the time going, no! And then they'll hand you the key ring as soon as everything's done.
As much as I love him.
This is going much better than the last time.
We
we
will.
will.
We're all playing hard sociopaths of
Yeah.
a different kind.
You,
This is the Always Sunny in
we never
Philadelphia
even
style
learned
brides.
the person that you killed. We don't know anything about her. Don't know what
dead
she was
now.
doing there.
She burns real good.
High level of flammability. That's all we need.
Subcutaneous fat.
Bluebeard seems to pay. his
Went up
servants
like
well.
candle
Well, I'm the
tallow.
groundskeeper now dealing with a burning down building, Justin
Sorry.
Ecock, and I've been surrounded by my psychopathic players. Sociopathic?
Depends on what.
Depends on murderous.
Are
You're
they
looking at
still
me.
are they still classed together? Do you know in the latest?
Oh, they're very different.
'Cause
Psychopathy.
for a while, they put sociopathy under psychopathy, and then they separated them again. And
sociopaths feel everything.
Tune in to the podcast
It
for the recently
me.
deceased to find out more about the terminologies.
congrats, we thought of your next episode.
with our witch and our fatale.
Nick Cassidy.
And Ash Cassidy.
And for not in-depth discussions on the origins of psychopathy, but still very well-written fairy tales for unwanted children.
Scott Thrower, who thinks that smells very much like cooking goat.
Yeah, let's go off to the kitchen. Follow your nose. And the Virgin, who's going, well, this escalated quickly.
Yeah, look, I play a fucking elevator in another podcast, so all the rest of you can
Go listen to the Sarah podcast.
An excuse to go down on people.
free poison. I've got a lot of ups and downs in that character.
Oh, until next time, be good to each other. The Terrible Warriors has new episodes out every Tuesday, and The Terrible Warriors will return next week with the third episode in our Bluebeard's Bride fairy tale. Bluebeard's Bride is published by Magpie Games. Check them out and their other games, of course. It sounds like we'll be returning to masks soon. You see, on our Patreon page at patreon.com/terriblewarriors, we're letting you decide which games we play this year. You can go sign up for any amount and gain access to that poll. Right now, Masks, also by Magpie Games, is currently in the lead. It sounds like you want us to go back and do a superhero sequel. Well, who am I to say no to such dear listeners? Follow us on Twitter at Dice Warriors for all the updates on the show, and consider joining our Discord channel. You don't have to be a Patreon supporter to do that. It's open to the public, and we've even got a listener gaming group that has started up where other people who are listening to this show are joining together and playing games of their own. It's almost like we're building some sort of community online. Come hang out in Discord. It's a lot of fun. We'd love to have you. You can find the link to invite yourself to the channel at terriblewarriors.com. Just scroll to the bottom of the page. Today's Terrible Warriors and your sisters of the bride as she travels through Bluebeard's mansion, having now committed murder, are Ash and Nick Cassidy from the podcast for the recently deceased, Scott Thrower from the Fairytales for Unwanted Children podcast, Bree Poisonne from right here on Terrible Warriors and the Sayer podcast, and groundskeeper Justin Ecock. We return next week, right here on the Terrible Warriors.